After the snooze fest of a game on Monday, the Cardinals strike back with a vengeance on Tuesday to even up their series against the Cincinnati Reds.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou, and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. Want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. You can find us on YouTube. Make sure you stop by, you like, you subscribe, you comment, you interact with us. Don't be shy. Hit the notification button so you know when new episodes are posted. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode brought to you by Gametime. You can download the Gametime app, create an account, and then use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So the Cardinals had a rough game on Monday. We know that. In Cincinnati now, they're back on the road where the offense was just kind of asleep at the wheel on Monday. And honestly, they really may have been asleep during that game. You know, following the big win on Sunday night, the late night against the Cubs, the Cardinals had to pack up. Then they had to go to the airport, get on a plane, which landed in Cincinnati between 3 and 4 a.m., drive to a hotel, which is about 20 minutes away, check in, unpack, and get to sleep before getting back up and ready for a game that started at 4 o'clock Eastern time. So that meant that they lost an hour by heading to a different time zone. So a lot of things going against the Cardinals. Not an ideal setup for them after the rain delay on Sunday, making things very, very tough for them travel-wise. Meanwhile, the Reds, they had just swept the Dodgers. Their game actually got pushed up by Major League Baseball to avoid the storms that were going through Cincinnati on Sunday. And it ended up delaying their game for a little bit, but they were done in the early evening and got to just kind of sit around and rest after sweeping the Dodgers. Much more ideal setup for them than the chaos that the Cardinals had to go through. Yes, these are excuses, absolutely, but there are real reasons why the Cardinals looked a bit flat on Monday, which, I mean, go watch the footage. They looked flat. That just is the way it felt. You know, I know we'll have people who say, oh, but they get chartered flights. They get to sleep in the best hotels. Big deal, yada, yada, yada. And that's all true. But you got to admit that that was a pretty tough overnight schedule for the boys going into Cincinnati. Anyways, Monday, they had the lead early on, thanks to the solo home run from Paul Goldschmidt, who had hit 2 home runs the night before on Sunday. So nice little stretch for the former MVP. He looks like he's starting to get his groove back a little bit. Unfortunately, that was the last of the offense on Monday. The rest of the game, the team did very little. And as the game went on, they just kind of got worse and worse with each at bat. 9 of their final 11 batters struck out. They only had 4 other hits in the game besides Goldie's dinger. All of them were singles. Just it was an ugly day at the office for the bats, which was a bummer because Cardinals starter Lance Lynn actually looked pretty good. 6 innings, allowed just 1 earned run, struck out 5. He walked 3, which, yeah, the walks are an issue there. Gave up the solo shot to Jeimer Candelario in the first inning, but the 2 errors on Nato and Goldie, those were the big issues that led to the other 2 runs scoring, and the Cardinals lose 3-1. You know, not a great outpouring of offense from either team. You know, the Reds, it's not like the Reds did anything special on Monday that made them feel superior than the Cardinals other than the score at the end of the game. They didn't do anything all that fun offensively either. Tuesday night, way better for the Cardinals. The Cardinals jump on top first thanks to an RBI double by Mason Wynn, extends his hitting streak to 17 in a row. He's up there with guys like Albert Pujols. Remember last year, Jordan Walker had a nice streak. So, you know, Mason's doing some special stuff. Then you got home runs from both of your Nolans. First one was Arenado with the 2-run jack in the top of the 4th, just his 4th home run of the year. First off, a left-hander, which is a little surprising. We're going to talk more about Arenado's struggles later on in today's episode. But he looked good on that swing. Got a fastball down and in, and he put a classic Arenado pull swing on it, ripped it, line shot over the wall in left field. Looked good to me on that one. I was actually talking to somebody who works with the Reds at the time it happened, and I was like, I wouldn't pitch him low and in. everybody's throwing him away right now. Andrew Abbott, for some reason, went low and inside against him, and he got burned. So then you got the score 3-1 in the seventh inning. Nolan Gorman strikes against Andrew Abbott as well. A 415-foot blast, his ninth of the season, to make it 5-1. Cardinals would tack on a couple of more. They pound out 13 hits on the night. Ivan Herrera was 3 for 5 in the cleanup spot. Goldie and Donnie each had 2 hits. The only starter who failed to get a hit was Alec Burleson, and it's not like he looked terrible at the plate or something. He just kind of hit it at people. He was 0 for 5, saw his average dip down to 297 on the year, which is now tied with Mason Wynn for the top batting average on the team so far this year. The odd thing about Tuesday night is that despite scoring 7 runs, the Cardinals were just 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They left 8 guys on base, so there was chances to do even more damage against the Cincinnati Reds, and they failed to do that, but still score 7 runs. Meanwhile, Kyle Gibson throwing for the Cardinals, he was freaking cruising. Filthy bite on the breaking ball tonight. Made many of those Reds hitters look straight foolish at the plate. Had a no-hitter going through 5 innings before the solo shot by Will Benson to lead off the 6th inning. Ends up going 6 innings total. Gives up just 1 run on 2 hits, walks 1, strikes out 6. His 6th quality start of the season, which is tops on the club. His ERA drops down to 3.60, which sits him just outside the top 25 in the National League. Bullpen-wise, you didn't have to use any of the Trinity. The top 3 guys all got to get the night off. John King worked 2 scoreless innings, and Ryan Fernandez finished off the game. Made things a little bit more dramatic than we needed them to be, but was able to get out of that bases-loaded jam in the 9th. Secures the victory. The Cardinals also, this is huge, snap their error streak at 12 straight games. You had the Arenado and Goldie errors on Monday, and then there was a chance that they were going to call an error on the one play. I think it was Ellie De La Cruz that hit it, and Mason Wynn, he had to pick what hop he wanted to try to field the ball off of. Went for the short hop version. It got by him, and Ellie was safe at first, but I think they ended up giving him a hit. So no error on that play. So the error streak, it's gone. No more. Thank God. So a lot of good stuff went on Tuesday, and they'll go for the series win on Wednesday afternoon. Andre Pallante, who just got called up with Nick Robertson going to the IL. Pallante is going to get the start on Wednesday, and he'll be facing off against Frankie Montas of the Cincinnati Reds. So despite hitting the home run on Tuesday, the struggles of Nolan Arenado are something that a lot of people are talking about right now. So we're going to jump into that discussion, and we'll talk about his latest offensive funk next on Locked On Cardinals. Remember the first day of school or the first day at a new job, and you'd be wearing your brand new outfit that you picked out. So, you just look and you feel your best. You're feeling confident when you walk through those doors for the first time. Well, you can get that instant confidence boost again with Stitch Fix. And get this, Stitch Fix gives you a stylist to help you out with this situation. Let's be honest, guys. Most of us don't really know what the hell we're doing when it comes to actual picking out clothes and being good, being fashionable. Well, that's not usually something we're all that good at. And Stitch Fix will give you a stylist to help you out here. They take in consideration your style, your size, your budget, and then they'll do the shopping for you. You can order things when you want and how you want with no subscription required. Summer is here now, Memorial Weekend in the book. So summer is here, and you need to upgrade that closet. So why get it done in a bad way? Like, why leave it up on your own shoulders? And so why would you make these decisions? Like, do it the smart and efficient way with Stitch Fix. And if you don't love something, just send it back. Shipping, returns, and exchanges, they're always free. So if you're ready to upgrade your style that makes you feel as good as you look, get started today. Go to stitchfix.com/MLB and get $20 off your first fix. That's stitchfix.com/MLB for $20 off. Stitchfix.com/MLB. Must redeem within 7 days of signing up. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day and have to turn down the volume because of all the screaming that takes place in those shows? Well, make the switch to Locked On Sports today instead. It's a free 24/7 sports streaming channel, and it's programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all of the screaming. Locked On Sports today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. You can leave comments on YouTube as well as on Twitter X anytime you want. The feedback always welcome and encouraged. A lot of positive stuff lately. We had a few trolls after Monday's game, but mostly positive stuff coming out. But we got to talk about the elephant in the room right now, and that has been what is going on with Nolan Arenado again. He's been one of the best third basemen in baseball since he came up with the Rockies. His first couple seasons in St. Louis, they went great. 30-plus home runs, 100-plus RBIs, great defense. But unless he picks up the pace in a major way here in 2024, he is, which is possible. I'm not saying it's impossible, but he's going to fall well below the normal numbers that you would see for Nolan Arenado. Currently on May 28th, he has just 4 home runs and 25 RBIs, hit the 2-run shot on Tuesday. But he was dropped to 5th in the batting order for the first time on Monday since 2015. Ended up going 0-for-4 on Monday, but the whole team was exhausted. So maybe we'll give him a mulligan for that one. But over his last 18 games, including Tuesday's game, 15-77, just a 195 batting average, was just 3 of 24 over his last 6 games with 1 RBI before Tuesday night when he hit the home run and drove in 2. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, here we are again. We're back in one of those Nolan Arenado funks. And it's just something that continues to pop up with more regularity over the past couple of seasons. After Monday's game, Arenado, who doesn't speak with the media all that often, but when he does, it's usually about something important. And he spoke to the media about his swing, saying it's bad. The swing is not good, which, we know that, dude. But he says, I've been working on it. I'm trying to figure this thing out, but my swing is not good. I'm a guy that pulls the ball in the air, and I haven't done that all year. I don't know what the answers are. I've got to continue to try to find it. I can see the difference of when I was good and when I'm not. But trying to apply it in games right now is really, really hard for me. John Denton at MLB.com points out that Nato, who has a career OPS of 864, currently coming into Tuesday's game was sporting a career worst 663. He hadn't hit a home run in 11 games. Last time doing that was against the Angels on May 13th, which, yes, he pulled one down the line for a home run before he ended up going yard on Tuesday. But Arenado continued when he spoke with the media saying, I think it's a mixture of mechanics, but mentally it's been frustrating. I mean, I've gone through struggles, but I'm still able to hit the ball in the air. But what I'm going through now is something that I've never gone quite like this, but my at-bats have been just terrible. I haven't felt like me all year. It's been a while. I don't think it's gone. I still move fast, and I've gone through all the numbers and the random numbers, and they still tell me that I'm moving as fast as I ever have, but there's a mechanical issue, an approach thing. I haven't been me in the last 5 months of baseball. Denton points out that Nato's ability to pull fastballs for home runs has been an issue since he's been late on a lot of them, which has instead forced him to hit the ball to center field and into right field more often. And usually when he has to do that, there's not going to be a lot of authority behind that. So he's not hitting the ball all that hard when he does hit it to those places. Nato continued when he spoke on Monday saying, I'm a guy who flirts with his swing too much, and I've always been that way. But I also know what I'm doing now is not good. So I don't want to just sit there and not work. I always watch old video of myself and mimic those good moves. But sometimes when you create bad habits, they're hard to break. This one is taking a long time. And for me, I wonder if it's starting to, obviously it's frustrating him as he talks about it after the game, but it's starting to affect his defensive play as well, because coming into Tuesday's game, Nolan Arenado, the guy who is considered by many to be one of the top defensive third basemen of all time, -5 defensive runs saved so far here in 2024. Last year, he had a career low +1 defensive run saved. He's -5. In 2022, he was +19. Like, that's how far he's fallen with the defensive metrics. Is it injuries? Is it mental? I don't know. They're not putting any blame on saying there's something going on with his back or anything to go, leg, shoulder, whatever it may be. But Can the real Nolan Arenado please stand up? I had all the faith in the world coming into this season that he would have just like this. And I kept calling it the Nolan Arenado revenge tour. I thought that's what he was going on to. I thought after seeing how he started things in spring training, I was like, all right, he's back. This is the guy that we were looking for. This is the guy who finished third in the MVP voting just a couple years ago. And he has not been that guy. And when he's not good and when Goldie's not good, this team has some trouble. You got two cornerstone players in those guys that they need to be really good or they ain't going anywhere this year, despite the recent winning ways. Like, they just can't. Like, they need these two guys. They're supposed to be your 3-4 dudes. And Goldie's starting to come around a little more. You're starting to see it more and more each game. Had a couple more hits on Tuesday night, the 3 home runs on Sunday through Monday. So you're seeing it with Goldie, but Nato has declined once again. Like, we thought he was busting out, and he's right back into it again, where he's just not having very good at bats, and he just looks a little bit lost up there. The great Bernie Miklasz broke down more of Arenado's struggles in a recent article. I want to share some of his intel and insight with you guys coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. Going to baseball games in St. Louis, it is a tradition, even if the team is losing, which they haven't done a lot of recently. Been pretty good recently, and you're starting to see people show up at Busch Stadium once again. But you want to take that trek. You want to get down there a little early, do some dinner and drinks over at Ballpark Village, and then head on over to Busch Stadium to cheer on your Cardinals. And when you need tickets to the game, and if they continue to play good, they're going to be tougher and tougher to get your hands on. But you can still do it with the Gametime app. Gametime is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, and it makes getting tickets to any team. It doesn't just have to be the Cardinals, but it makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Gametime app, they actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. I'll tell you this, not even a baseball story, basketball story. So a friend of mine is a Boston Celtics fan. She grew up in Boston. She wanted to go see the Pacers and the Celtics play. Decided to make the trip there. Last minute was like, you know what? I'm going to make the drive. I'm going to go a couple hours and I'm going to go and do it. And she ended up going on to the Gametime app and found tickets for like $50. And she was like, they were great seats and it was amazing. And I'd never in my wildest dreams thought I'd be able to get playoff tickets at that price where they were so late in the day. And that's what happens with the Gametime app. Last minute deals. You could save up to 60% off by buying last minute for sports. It could be concerts, comedy, theater, all of this stuff available on the Gametime app with the lowest price guarantee, or Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. So download the Gametime app. I'm telling you, it works. The tickets I'm going to use on Wednesday, I got on the Gametime app. First row in center field. Got them on the Gametime app. Great price. So go on there, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Again, terms apply. Create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. It's now also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows, which cover every league. You can find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. So Bernie Miklasz wrote a piece on Arenado. I will put the link in the description and in the show notes for you. But Scoops with DannyMac.com is where he writes for nowadays. And he shed some more light on some of the struggles that are going on with Nolan Arenado. And it's not pretty. Again, all of this was before Tuesday's game when he hit a home run and drove in 2 more. But just some ugly stats. Here, let's check them out. Arenado, according to Bernie Miklasz, here's what he says about him. Getting dominated right now by the four-seam fastball. Batting .211 with a poor slugging percentage. Arenado's yearly slugging percentage as a Cardinal when connecting on four-seam fastballs. 2021 was at .457. 2022, .595. 2023, .669. This year, .263. Arenado's hard hit rate on four-seam fastballs this year is 26%. It wasn't lower than 40% in each of his first 3 seasons in St. Louis. Arenado's strikeout rate against four-seam fastballs is now at 25.4%. He says that's revealing. In his first 3 seasons with the Cardinals, Arenado's strikeout rate against the four-seam fastball was 14% in 2021, 7.6 in 2022, then 14 in 2023. And the punch-out problem is a lot worse in 2024, all the way up to 25.4%. He also isn't hitting the ball with authority. Arenado's yearly hard hit rate as a Cardinal, 37.5 in 21, 39% in 22, 38% in 23. Pretty consistent, right? 2024, 29%. That 29% hard hit rate, Bernie says, ranks 235th among 291 qualifying MLB hitters this season. He also goes more in depth on the issues with pulling the ball more, which you can read by clicking on the article again in the link down below or in the show notes. You can find it. And it's all quite alarming at how quickly the numbers have dipped and how they continue to go down. We've been seeing this recently with members of the St. Louis Cardinals. Paul Goldschmidt, after his MVP year, we saw the decline last year, and then we saw how bad it got at the early parts of this year. Again, starting to come out of it right now, but it's going to take a scorching streak over the last few months to get even anywhere near what his numbers normally are. We saw it happen to Adam Wainwright in his final year. Remember, he had one bad month in 2022 at the end of the season, thought he figured out what was wrong, and then just got creamed in 2023. A lot of injuries that he was dealing with, but that was painful to watch. And, the Cardinals still got Nolan Arenado locked up for a couple more years. So hopefully this isn't just the beginning of the end for the once great Nolan Arenado. I hope that that's not what we're seeing here, that it's just, a few struggles right now, and hopefully he'll be able to pull himself out of this here in the very near future. It was a good step on Tuesday night by hitting that home run. But, if pitchers, I'm going to guess Andrew Abbott missed his spot on that pitch, that he wasn't actually trying to throw a ball low and into Nolan Arenado. They just keep pounding him away, kind of like they were doing with Jordan Walker. And Arenado just does not possess opposite field power. He doesn't hit the ball over the wall to center field or to right field. That's not his thing. And it's, obviously going to hurt the slugging and the OPS and the power numbers if he can't figure out a way to get pitchers to try to bring it back inside against him so he can pull the ball. Let's get some injury updates here. Lars Nootbaar, who was out with a hamstring issue for a couple of days. He was back in the lineup on Tuesday, which was great to see, because I had read somewhere that they thought maybe he'd be out until like the weekend. And lo and behold, he was back in the lineup on Tuesday, goes 1 for 5. Played the whole game, so it appears he's going to be fine moving forward. I'm sure they'll be cautious about it, to make sure that he doesn't push it too much, and then he ends up on the shelf even longer. So that's good news. No injury for Brendan Donovan is good news. I know some people were concerned. My mom texted me and was like, "Hey, what's the word on Donnie? Why'd they take him out?" I know people were concerned when he got pulled from the game following the extra base hit that he had in the 7th inning, where it was a double. He stretched it to get to third base after the bobble in right field, and just kind of went around second base a little awkwardly. It just kind of looked off. And Ali said that after the game, Brendan Donovan came out because they were just going to make the change for defense the next inning, and decided, you know what, let's just make the switch now. We'll put Siani in, take advantage of his speed on the bases. And it ended up working, because Mason Wynn comes up, hits the ground ball, the chopper to Ellie De La Cruz at shortstop. And if that's Brendan Donovan running home, that dude is toast. But because it was Siani, De La Cruz pumped and was like, not going to get him, and then had to make the throw to first base, and the Cardinals picked up an insurance run because of that. So smart move by Ali Marmol. So Keenan Middleton, not great news. Had a setback. He's going to get some imaging done on his right elbow. Unfortunately, he hasn't thrown for the Cardinals this year. You saw him in spring training, and we haven't seen him since. So it feels like a bust of a move, man. It happens, considering how well he pitched for the White Sox and the Yankees And I was hoping that he was going to be a strong piece of this bullpen, which has been pretty darn good without him. But it would have made that bullpen even that much stronger. And after spending several weeks rehabilitating and strengthening his forearm, he made 5 appearances, 2.25 ERA for Double-A Springfield. But pain has returned to that forearm following the relief appearances on the 22nd and 23rd. So he's going to get more imaging done. And, I prepare myself for the worst, because that's usually what happens. So I'll be prepared for the worst thing possible. And if we come back and we get good news, then we get good news. But not looking great for Keenan Middleton right now. Cardinals are back at it tomorrow. It's going to be noon St. Louis time. I know I did that short video and I was like, okay, what time is the actual game? It is noon St. Louis time, 1 o'clock East Coast time, which is where Cincinnati is. So chance to get back to the 500 mark again. Can they do it? They're 1 game back in the wild card right now. They're 4.5 back at first place Milwaukee, who lost to the Cubs on Tuesday. Not that all of that is great, but it's kind of impressive considering where things were just a couple of weeks ago and how upset everyone was and how disappointed we all were and what was going on with the season. The fact that they've climbed their way back into this thing is pretty impressive. So once again, Andre Palante appears to be the starter on Wednesday to go up against Frankie Montas for the Cincinnati Reds. And we'll see what happens. I would love to take the rubber match in this one so I don't have to continue to get trash talked by my wife, who is from Cincinnati and is a Reds fan. So it's annoying, guys. I was with a group of like 25 people at the game on Tuesday night. And it was just this big grouping of friends of hers and stuff that we visited. And only one other person was a Cardinal fan next to me. And it was just Reds people booing us the whole time down the first baseline. So Wednesday's game, I'll be in center field. So I'm excited about that. And I'm going to put on the powder blues. I'll have the powder blue Goldie on tomorrow. And looking forward to the game. So it should be a good one. Hopefully Cardinals can come out a winner and take 2 of 3 in Cincinnati. So we'll see. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. I'll be hopping on with Locked On Reds tomorrow afternoon. We'll do a kind of a series recap, and that'll be the episode after the game on Wednesday. So be on the lookout for that one. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on Twitter, X at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Like, subscribe on YouTube, help our channel and love for the Cardinals grow. You guys are the best fans of baseball for a reason, and I will see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.